Very much for that question, Jane. In fact, this is one of the discussions that we've been having, and at the Association of Media Women in Kenya, actually we've been encouraging female journalists not to shy away from difficult assignments, because what if all of us shy away? What does that mean about coverage of, for example, the gender issues, the women in politics? So what is the best thing to do? And I'll give this from a personal experience as a journalist who's been covering politics and issues to do with human trafficking. All these are difficult subjects. And one of the events that I will never forget is the day we went to cover a political rally with my colleague, a lady, a videographer, and myself as the journalist. And when we went to the middle, between the crowd and the sources, of course, we were being pinched, at the back, you're holding the microphone, somebody's holding your chest. And I mean, you can imagine how scared we were. And when you look back, someone just gives you a stare of, I'm going to strangle you if you dare shout. So what did we do with that? Because we said we cannot stop reporting. This is what we wanted to do. So we started now looking for other colleagues within the media, and we'll ask somebody, are you going for this political rally? So we'll go as a crowd, and the men will stay behind us, and then we'll stay at the front. So when you talk about even individual responsibility, and even at the institutional level, even as an individual, there's something that we can do. And we formed a group, let's say it's a group of about 8 of us, and we're able to move from one rally to another rally, and they will protect us. And for now, what you are really insisting on is training, the safety tips, the small tips that we can, use around us, because the editor will not always be there with you. The media house will not always be there with you. But how can you protect yourself? And that's why it's very important to train the journalists on those safety tips, and even sharing knowledge. How do we protect ourselves? And some media houses, we've been urging them, for example, if there are 2 of them that are going out, why don't you tie them together? Maybe a man, a male journalist, and a female journalist, because that way someone even feels secure. So I think the best thing is for the female journalist not to shy away. The world doesn't care that you're a woman. It's so unforgiving. Nobody cares you're a woman, and you'll never, rise to the level because you're a woman, but you'll rise because of professionalism, because of the work that you can do. So if we take a back seat, then we'll still continue having those gender parities, gender disparities that we are seeing in the newsrooms. Another important thing that I really thought that we should mention is about, like now in Kenya, and one of the things that I'm hoping is that the media can speak in one voice. Let us stop this thing of a journalist has been harassed, a journalist equipment has been spoiled, and we don't say anything. We just pick one from this corner, another one from west. I think it's a high time we came together and condemned these issues with a powerful voice. After all, we have the power. We have the power of the pen, the power of the microphone. I think we need to speak very loudly about these issues. The problem is that it's been casualized. That's why you realize a journalist who is just covering a press conference is just attacked by a politician, and we don't say anything, we don't do anything about it. So the moment they realize we are not united, these threats will continue. Another thing I wanted to mention is, for example, the media organizations, especially the media owners, not taking responsibilities. They sit in their offices, in the boardrooms, and say, we are going to back this candidate, or they ask people, reports favoring this candidate, and yet they're not at the front line. They're not the ones going to the field. And that's why if a media house decides we are taking this position, then they have to assure us how they're going to protect their journalists, because the journalists are the ones who are out there interacting with the people, they're carrying the microphone of that media house. I think it's a high time that, we should not, because Kenya is having the election next year, let us, ensure that these things are not going to happen, and we have to write and talk about them.
Thank you, Judy. And as you still hold the microphone, the front line has moved to other things because we now have digital transformation. So safety and security has moved from the physical, it has gone to the virtual. And now we have online harassment, and we also have issues of digital safety and security. What should that be? And I know as Amweek, you've also conducted a research on online harassment of women. So it's not like you say, I've not gone to the field, I'm safe. You are still not safe, even from the comfort of your house.
Yes, you're very right. Actually, we've realized online harassment is one of the biggest, challenges female journalists are facing. And men too are facing it, but it's not as bad compared to the women, because the women, it gets to, out of doing the story, it gets to, are you married? Do you have children? How big are you? How fat are you? How thin are you? body shaming, which has a psychological effect on the journalists. We've seen journalists actually who've resigned because of the kind of, online harassment that they receive. And it's shocking because the intention of such trolling actually is meant to discourage the journalists from writing these issues, especially the journalists who are even reporting on issues of gender, inequalities. They're being branded as activists, and they're trying to look for all forms of, inadequacies that they can ensure that they discourage them from working. And that's why we've been training the journalists on the safety online, because also we want journalists to be well equipped, to be aware. For example, if I post an image of myself drinking alcohol and dancing and all that, sometimes there's nothing wrong to live your life, but we're trying to say, as a journalist, since you're a public figure, then how do you protect yourself from that? To what extent can you expose yourself? And let's say, for example, you've been posting everything about your kids, about where you live, and then let's take, for example, you've done a story that is sensitive, then how will you protect yourself and your family? So we've been giving them slowly by slowly some tips on how they can protect themselves and even protect their loved ones. And one of also the things I've realized is that even when female journalists do stories that are not supposed to be done by female journalists, they are branded as men. Like even the comments that they are made, they're being told you are a man, you look like a man. And this is happening online. They post pictures, doctor them, and actually they create very bad images. So, for example, the questions we should be asking is, for example, the female journalists who have done investigative pieces of late, I want you to think about it. Where are they? Are they safe? Are they going back to continue reporting? I think these are some of the things that we need to continue asking, and you can even find out what happened to them. The fight was not mostly physical, but it was just online. So I think these are some of the things that we need to think about, and that's why at Amwick we will continue training different groups, including the university students who are transiting from the university to join the newsrooms, because it's always good that everybody is empowered with the information of how they can protect themselves.